But the whole sway of the figure and the way in which the lion is moulded into the body of David shows that we are dealing here certainly with an ivory probably produced in Constantinople.
We know that many such Byzantine ivories from the East Mediterranean made their way over sea lanes to insular sculptors and manuscript makers. There has been much debate among art historians about influence from the East in the Virgin and Child scene in the Book of Kells. The carvings on Iona, particularly St. Odin's cross, certainly suggest such an influence. The earliest poem on the Blessed Virgin is an Iona product. It was written by Cucuvna of Iona, who died in the year 747, about 50 years before the Book of Kells was made. These high crosses on Iona show the Virgin and Child enthroned between angels whose wings are raised to form a canopy, a feature which first appears in manuscripts in Coptic Egypt. Some of the book designs have parallels in the so-called carpet pages of insular Gospels.
In Luke's Gospel, this figure of Christ seems a pictorial attempt to expound St. Paul's mixed metaphor of the new temple, the Christian church, combining both Jewish converts to the church and Gentiles in architectural language. The church is seen as a living building, as the body of Christ. So the cornerstone is Christ himself. He is the uttermost foundation. It is built upon the apostles and prophets. It is made up of the living stones of individual believers, connecting earth and heaven. At baptism, the devil is expelled, and there are close similarities between this rather strange detail, the extension of the devil's hand here into what looks like two prongs. It has very close parallels in a monastic text from St. Catherine's in Sinai from the 6th century, showing the ascent, the spiritual ascent of the monks, in which they were constantly being lured and deflected from the straight and narrow uphill way to Christ by little black demons shown like this, some of whom are using them as target practice, and sometimes they are lassoing them to pull them off the spiritual ladder of ascent.
On the darkest days, a great light of heavenly brightness would shine down upon Columba. Time and again he would behold visions of just souls borne up by angels to the heights of heaven, as devils grappled with the souls of the wicked, dragging them down to hell. The sea heaved, vomiting up gaping prows of dread, threatening peril to our blessed men. No harbour was free from these marauding Norsemen, who in a rush of slaughter ravaged our holy shrines and sanctuaries. As demons from the place of torments, they compelled our Holy Father to surrender the precious metals wherein lay the holy bones of Saint Columba. Walls of axes fell around us, slaughtering 68 of our blessed men, torching the scriptorium, leaving our sacred books to burn in the flames of hell.
In 806, the monastery of Iona suffered its worst and most savage attack. The very next year, the annals record the building in Ireland of a new monastery of Columba at Kells. While the community remained on Iona for many, many years, the leadership of the Columban family of monasteries was ultimately transferred to Ireland.
The decoration of the Book of Kells was never completed. Certain major pages were planned but not executed, while the decoration of other pages was left incomplete or altered. It is not known why this should have been. The most dramatic explanation involves a scenario of monks fleeing Iona in a curragh in fear of their lives, clutching their great unfinished gospel book, while Vikings plundered and looted behind them. But what we do know is that it was at Kells that the first reference to the great gospel book of St. Columkill occurs.
When did it come to Trinity?
It came to Trinity sometime after 1661. At that stage, the monastery in Kells was falling into ruin and was actually threatened by the soldiers of Cromwell. And the Bishop of Meath, Henry Jones, thought it would be safer to bring it to Dublin. And it came to Trinity just after that. So Trinity College has been looking after it since the late 17th century.
Thanks to that great herd of philosophers, of travelling Irish men of learning who flocked to the mainland of Europe, many Irish Gospels and other books survive in libraries on the continent.